Turn our Bibles tonight to the book of Proverbs. We are in the book of Proverbs, and we're moving on to chapter 15. Does anybody need a bulletin? Anybody need a handout? Has everybody got one? Anybody need one? Everybody got one? Good. We're passing on wisdom, right? We're reading about and studying about Solomon passing on wisdom to his son and his sons, and of course, which means it's the Lord passing on wisdom to us. And so he passes wisdom on to us that we might also pass it on. And so, but in order to pass on wisdom, we have to get it. We have to receive it, right? You can't pass on what you don't have. And so let's look at this tonight. Chapter 15, verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. How many have heard that proverb before? Yeah, we've heard that one a lot, haven't we? It's so we're gonna kind of peel it apart a little bit tonight. So number one, what to do with an angry person? What to do with an angry person? I want us to just notice that right away. It says, soft answer turneth away wrath. So it gives us the idea, the understanding that the wrath is already there. Okay? So, by the way, so is a soft answer always the answer to everything? No, it's particular here. Sometimes we want to extrapolate something to use, well, we should always be soft-spoken. Man, if that's the case, I'm in trouble. Anyhow, but this is particularly in the condition of the situation of when there's wrath and there's this kind of situation coming at us. So the proverb here is pretty straightforward. So number one, when there's wrath presented, a soft answer turns it away. Okay? You ever had somebody come at you with an angry person come at you just with a lot of energy, right? And you're like, what is wrong? And some of you are like, yeah, every day. Maybe in your work environment, maybe at home, maybe with your kids, maybe with your parents. I don't know what it is, but somebody's coming and this thing of, and some people just are just explosive. You know what I mean? Some people are just explosive, like if anything's coming out of their mouth, it's really loud, it's really aggressive. You think, are you all right? And they always seem to be angry. They're just that way. And so what we're talking about, when wrath is presented, a soft answer turns it away. Number two, but to the contrary, grievous words stir it up. That's right, grievous words stir it up. So Mama over here used to always say about Pap, her husband, and then she said it about me too. She'd say, you're agitators. That's what she'd always say. Remember saying that? She'd always say you're because we like to have a lot of fun and stir up. Now, there's a difference between stirring it up when just fun and stirring it up with if somebody comes at you with anger and wrath, guess what happens if you come back at them with the same thing? Oh man, you stir that thing up. Forget about it, right? It's it's like if there was a little fire, you just took a whole, not a jug, but you just took like a pan of fuel and threw it on that thing. And you know what happens when you take a bunch of fuel at one time and throw it on a fire? You're losing eyebrows. Right? You know what I'm saying? It comes back at you. Right? So we see that then. So, I suppose the question is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to put out the fire or stoke it? So this is the question that we really need to find out about our own self. What am I trying to do? When I do that, what am I trying to do? Which leads really to the next question is, what should you be doing? Right? Well, we didn't have to ask that one. We're doing one of those two things, right? When wrath comes at us. When somebody comes at us this way, we can either be attempting to put it out, or we're going to stir it up. Which one? It's our choice. So 3, before we can deal with the angry person, we must deal with ourselves. Before we can deal with them, you got to deal with this guy, right? You just, and I don't mean me, you know, that you got to deal with the person that looks at you in the mirror. Don't think you can fix other people when you haven't fixed this one. By the way, I'm not talking about just fixing. I'm saying don't even think you can deal with people properly if you're not already prepared, right? Because it's a challenge, folks. It's a challenge when somebody comes at us that way. If we haven't already decided, can I tell you what you're going to do? You know what you're going to do. Same thing I'm going to do if I'm not thinking about it. We're going to put some more fuel back. They're going to come, and then we're going to, you ever done this? You took a shot right back, and then you're like, oh, wished I wouldn't have done that, but it's all out. Too late. Too late. It's already out there. So number 2, human nature. Human nature. So A under that. How we deal with an insult. How we deal with an insult. You ever been insulted? Today? Today? Been insulted? Somebody comes and makes some comment, something about what you've done, what you said, maybe just about your character. And the worst is when it's like personal. I kind of almost don't mind somebody insulting me that doesn't know me, because they're like, sometimes people are trying to be funny and they're not. You know what I mean? They're trying to be funny and they say something. I've had this a lot of times. It seems like I've gotten this a lot in my life. I don't know, but somebody will come by and say something really inappropriate, trying to be funny. And you're thinking, I don't even know you. You know, what's wrong? And so, listen, but how do we deal with an insult? So, number 1 under that, it is considered unmanly not to resent being insulted. Some of you ladies are like, well, I don't care about being manly. Well, okay, man, it's considered, if we, it's considered we have a problem if we're not offended. If we don't resent that. Somebody comes and says something to us, and they're there, and somebody might say, a friend's like, it's like, are you going to, what? Are you going to take that? Are they going to rib you? Are you going to take that? Then you're like, okay, now I've got to defend myself. We've got to get this whole thing going on. And I'm telling you, this is the way insults come. This is the way the whole world is against us. And that's true. They're against us and against the spirit of what God wants us to be. So A, under that, it's even a sign of weakness if we're insulted and we don't resent being insulted. If we're not kicking back against that. Number 2, we will often not let the words pass unchallenged. Are any of y'all identifying with this? You know what I'm saying? Somebody says something and we feel like it just stirs up in us before we even have a moment to think about it. It's already this, how I'm going to get them back. Matter of fact, they said something and you know what they did? They kind of sparked the match and threw it at me, and they're still talking, but I already know what I'm about to say. All right, and it's boiling up, and it's just about there. And as soon as they'll shut their mouth for a second, I'm about to let it go. And so when I was a teenager, I was very insecure. Young preteen, teenager, very young teenager. I was so insecure. And so anytime somebody would make an insult, and that was the days of, we call it, you bagging on each other, and I don't know, maybe people still do it, but anyway, the kids we were harsh on each other. And so what I would do is if somebody would make an insult to me, I'd make about 5 back to them to where they would never want to do it again. And if it was a girl that did that, which would really embarrass me, I wouldn't stop until she was crying. But maybe at that time, I don't even think I thought it was funny at that time. I just thought, I don't want that to happen. And if people know if you take a shot at me, I'm not going to stop until you'll never want to do it again. That's called human nature. That's the flesh. The flesh is, you're not going to get me, I'm going to win. And So we often don't want to let that insult go unchallenged. So we say this, it's kind of like this, challenge accepted. And we take the shot back. By the way, folks, this is our human nature. We're all going to do this by nature unless we have something to make some decisions to stop it. You're like, well, I just don't say anything. Okay, yeah, listen, the Bible says this, Jesus said, thou hast heard it said, thou shalt not kill. But I say if you're angry, right, with your brother for no reason, it's as you've murdered them. So here's what happens. So some people are quiet. They just don't say much. But they're sitting there. They got that look. You know what I mean? That look that could kill. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to do it because I'll just say it, which I shouldn't either. But so some are like, well, I don't say anything. That's not what this is talking about. Okay? It doesn't say, no answer turneth away wrath. Right? It doesn't say saying nothing. By the way, saying nothing actually sometimes stirs up more wrath. Right? It's not that, right? Oh, that's better. No. So we kind of see the situation. There becomes this deal going on. And so, B, it takes more character to respond in quietness of spirit. It takes more character to really respond in a way that's a quietness of our spirit is, number one under that, one that returns cool, calm words for heated words is one that has his feelings in subjection. See, I control my feelings. I don't let them control me. Hey, now let me say it this way. Let me restate that. Can I control what I feel? No, I often can't. If somebody comes up behind you and says, boo, right? You're like, I'm not going to be startled. No, you've done jumped already, right? If you touch something, it's hot. And it's things happen to us. If somebody does something to you and says an insult that hurts your feelings, you're like, hey, just suck it up. Don't feel hurt. No, I mean, it hurt. Somebody says mean things about you, it hurts. You can't tell somebody, well, just don't let it hurt. Can I hit you with a hammer and just tell you, don't let it hurt. Just you'll learn to get it. Like, yeah, when it's so numb that I don't feel it anymore. No, listen. So what I'm saying is feelings happen to us, right? That's what happens when things outside. How we respond to those feelings, that's what we're talking about. How we respond to it. That's what we're in control of. We're not in control of what people do to us. I can't make people leave me alone. I can't make everybody be nice to me. I want everybody to be nice to me all the time, right? I want people to be nice to me every time. I want everybody to be my friend and everybody's nice to me. Doesn't that sound sweet? Right? I want to live in the alternative universe where everybody's nice to me all the time. Sometimes people are going to do something. So here's the thing: when those things happen, when I have my feelings in subjection, I have them under control. Is what I'm talking about. You see, so when that comes, if somebody does things that are hurtful, we don't strike back at them. So number two, one that returns insult for insult, railing for railing, is one that does not yet know how to rule his spirit. Doesn't know how to rule his spirit or her spirit. Doesn't know how to rule it. And so, listen, it's not a strength to be able to insult people better than they insulted you. Oh, I'm good at that. That's not a good skill. You understand what I'm saying? So we ought not be proud. Yeah, if somebody insults me, I'm going to insult them better, and everybody's going to laugh harder at my insult. That's not really a godly character. What's your spiritual gift? Insulting people, right? Yeah, that won't work very well, will it? It's so, I can be rude and toxic and irritable, and those aren't good characteristics for the child of God. Under their grievous words add what? Fuel to the flame. I put a blank on mine. I'm glad I remembered. It was an easy one. Sometimes I forget, and I just blank mine out too. But so grievous words add fuel to the flame. Let me just, for a moment here, just think about, why do people say mean things? Why do people want to hurt other people with their words? I mean, there's maybe a lot of reasons. Maybe they really don't like you. Maybe they really don't like you. Maybe they're insecure in their own life. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe there's just, maybe jealousy. Sometimes they want to put, maybe they just got a lot going on. Maybe they're hurt. Maybe they're disappointed. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they got somebody in their life that has hurt them. Hurt people, right? And so, I don't know why they came off like that. Some people have come out strong and aggressive and attacking. And I've come to, in my mind, what I want to do is the way I try to keep my feelings in subjection is to begin to think right away of like, what did I do to evoke that? I want to start there. Did I do something? Because sometimes I do stuff and I don't even know I did it. You know what I mean? I'd say sometimes we're going to offend people enough on accident. We got to try not to do it on purpose. And so there's some times that we're going to, so if somebody comes and I think, I'll start right. What did I do? And could we have done something? Could we have done something to elicit that kind of behavior? Yeah, we could have. We never deserved that, but we could have done something. And somebody comes, so we begin this thing to realize there might be something going on in their life. Probably what they don't need is more fuel. Ain't nobody talking to me like that. Well, then you're a fool. That's what the Bible is really dealing with. This is the difference between the wise and the fool. If a hurt person comes to us with some pain, and they take that pain out on us, and we go back with more pain, we've added fuel to the fire, and we've just stoked that thing up. We've not helped anyone. We've not helped us. Do you feel better after you've done that? We think we're going to feel better, though, don't we? We think, yeah, I'm not taking that. And we give it back. We're like, yeah. And then they're over there. Actually, now they're out of control. They're like turning red, and there's little flames coming. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean? They're like, oh, man, what did I do now? Where's the exit? And so here's the thing. It adds fuel to it. But number 3, B under that. Whereas a soft answer attempts to put out the flame. See, that's what a soft answer does. They come and they're this, and you're thinking, now, will a soft answer always put it out? Because, see, a proverb doesn't mean you do this, this is always going to happen. It's a rule. It's a rule in the way of a condition. Listen, if you put water on a fire, usually it puts it out. Unless it's an oil fire, then it actually spreads it. So that's a different deal. So the idea with the proverb is this gives us an idea of this. It's not always going to work, but what am I attempting to do? This is what we're talking about tonight. Am I attempting to put out the flame of anger and wrath, or to stoke it up? And this is what we have to think through, that process of what's going on here. So where are we at? Number 3. Number 3, the wise know how to use knowledge so that it will profit the situation. Okay? That's what wisdom is about. As this situation comes, what can I do to bring it down? Right? That's what the wise wants to do. The wisdom says, I'm going to try to bring that down. Knowing when to speak and when to be silent. Do you ever know somebody that just seems like they always get that backwards? Do you know what I mean? They always get that back. I mean, not us, but other people that do that. It's like, man, you just seem to know how to open your mouth when you should shut it, and then you're quiet. You ever see somebody, they're always running their mouth, and there's a time they should speak up and they don't? You're like, I thought you would then. You know, what's going on here? Anyway, but the wisdom says this. Wisdom, the wise one knows when to speak. The wise person knows when to speak and knows when to be silent. So number 4, the fool is always ready to give a response, whether it's appropriate or not. This is what the fool does. The fool is always ready. The fool is just ready. I've got something. Let me tell you what I think about this. And they let it out, and it's out there now. So look here. Let's look at some examples here. Number 3, examples. A, Gideon is confronted with wrath. Let's turn over there to Judges chapter 8. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. There it is. Right there. It's about number 7. Judges, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Yeah. Didn't run out of fingers yet. Once we get to 11, we got to take my shoe. Okay, Gideon, Judges chapter 8, verse 1. Let me get there. So Gideon is confronted with wrath, we're going to find here. So chapter 8, verse 1, it says, "And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus, that thou calledst us not when thou wentest..." I don't know why there's all the S's in there. It just makes it poetic. Anyway, he said, that thou calledst us not when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites, and they did chide with him sharply. So here they are. The men of Ephraim are here coming to Gideon. They're like, why didn't you get us? Why didn't you call us when you went to fight with them? And they say, you should have called us and we should have been a part of that thing. And they're now chiding with them sharply. So number 1, we will not avoid all conflict in our life. Isn't that disappointing? We will not avoid all conflict in our life. But what do we do when it comes? Here's the thing, folks. We're not going to avoid it. It's going to come. It's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to not get in any conflict. You're going to have to be like an ostrich. No, because then somebody's going to come kick you from behind. You're going to be conflict, okay? The question isn't how do we not get into conflict, because it's going to happen. There's some ways to avoid it. We'll deal with that another time. But what do we do when it comes? Look at verse 2 now. "And he said unto them, What have I now done in comparison of you? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? God hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb, and Zeb. And what was I able to do in comparison of you? Then their anger was abated toward him when he said that." So, number 2, this is the opposite of human nature. This is the opposite of human nature. They come up there chiding with them. What does he say? Chiding with them sharply. Chiding with them sharply. Sharply and getting in this conflict with them. And so, under that, instead of a rebuttal of their accusation, that's under there, instead of a rebuttal of their accusation, he commended them for their own successes. What do you mean, why didn't we ask you to come fight with us? You ought to be glad we did it without you. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? There becomes this. You ever had somebody get upset with you over something really so stupid? You're like, you shouldn't, what? Why are you mad at me about doing what you should have wanted me to do? Why did you clean the dishes and not ask me to help? Because thought it'd be a blessing? I don't know. Sometimes people are weird in this. So instead of a rebuttal, though, listen, we're not talking about flattery here, but a spirit to calm the flames of wrath. A wise person knows when to be silent, knows when to speak, knows when to listen. We come to this thing. Look, number 3. Gideon essentially ended the discourse by a soft answer. He ended it. He said, "This is over." He said, you know how he ended? He said, "Listen, they're angry. They're angry with him. They're chiding with him sharply." And he said, He didn't tell them they didn't have no right to ask. He didn't go against their argument. He didn't try to fight them. Our human nature wants to pull up the shield. And then we want to pull out the glasses. No, the sword, right? We want to, first of all, we want to defend ourselves. I was doing what I thought I was supposed to. You know, we start by, and then we want to attack you people, right? Gideon said, you know, instead he said, you know, y'all have done some great work too. You know, what I've done is nothing compared to how you've served over here. You've done over there, you've battled, had these battles you've won here. And those people were like, oh, this wasn't an affront to us. They weren't really resisting us. Okay, a soft answer turneth away wrath. Isn't that an exciting thing? Isn't that so much better when we can actually put it, squash that thing, and really let somebody know, I'm not upset with you. And they come out there, it's like, no, I'm not gonna. Man, it's a lovely thing. But watch this now. B. Jephthah enters a similar situation. Turn right over to Judges chapter 12. There's no book of Jude. Well, there is anyway. Chapter 12, verse 1. And the men of Ephraim, same fellas, gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Jephthah, wherefore passest thou over to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst not call us to go with thee? We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. These people got a problem. Why don't you let us fight with you? So again, he's confronted with wrath. This is wrath, under there. This is wrath with a threat of great violence. We're going to burn your house on top of you. That doesn't sound pleasant. This sounds like somebody that's really angry, right? So B, the fire of anger can grow out of control. So, notice it too, but notice then his response. Jephthah knows how to handle this. Verse 2. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Ammon. And the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore then are ye come up unto me this day to fight against me? So, okay, he didn't really know how to deal with it, did he? We see the response of Jephthah is not soft words, but grievous ones. That's A. Have you ever just felt like when somebody comes at you, you just need to let them know? I just need to let them know why I did what I did. I just need to let them know. You know, sometimes what we like to do, we like to take opportunities to tell somebody what they've done to injure us, maybe here evidently in the past. And we're going to use this situation. Probably them going in there had nothing to do with them. But now, while you're at it, I'm going to tell you why I don't like you either. And it becomes now we end up actually pulling out our own sword. Somebody was angry. We actually pull out our sword and dig into them again. You understand what I'm saying here? Makes sense to us? What Jephthah is doing here? It's to use this opportunity to point out their faults, their past failures, the problems in their life. Number 3, but grievous words stir up anger. They really do. Look at verse 4 now. Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, you Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. So now they come up and say, well, why didn't y'all ask us to come? Why didn't y'all come get us to not fight with you? Like these people are walking around. Who's going to let us fight with them? Is that just funny to me? I don't think this is screw. Come on, let's go find somebody that'll let us fight with them. Nobody's letting us fight. Why can't we play with you, right? You won't let us play, and why? And they're asking, you say, you know what, I'm so mad now, I'm going to burn you down in your house. Jephthah's like, no, you ain't. I'm going to come kill you. And then he says, now what it is because they said they're castaways, and they're these people that he said, you're not even of us, and because you're fugitives of Ephraim and of the family of Ephraim and the family of Manasseh, you say you're just kind of come on. All of a sudden now it's like some other deal. See, this is what that fire of wrath turns into something else. Matter of fact, what we'll do sometimes is we'll keep lists of all the things somebody has done. And then when the time comes, you did this, you did this, you did this. And the other person's like, oh, I thought you forgave me of that. Remember you said you was okay? And I thought, and all of a sudden now this thing is going wild. Look here, see. Pride is ugly. Pride is ugly. Its process is ugly. And its results are ugly. Number one, we're going to have to get moving quick here. When our need to be redeemed, to be avenged, are stronger than our trust in the Lord, it's ugly. Under that, when I need to lift myself up and stand my ground to defend my pride, it's ugly. God don't like ugly. That's what they say. In Texas, that's what we'd say back. I don't know if they say that anywhere, but God don't like ugly. I don't know if y'all ever talk like that. You ever say that's ugly? Don't be ugly. Maybe it's just a Texan thing to be like, yeah, y'all being ugly. Y'all quit being ugly. And they say God don't like ugly. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying it is ugly. When somebody acts that way, it's not a wonderful thing. Nobody wants to be around that. Number two, yet how wonderful is the meekness of a soft answer. Man, it's so wonderful. Under that, one that does not need to defend self, but with the great power of meekness controls the tongue. Man, it's a wonderful thing. To stand there and watch an interaction and somebody loses their business and says hurtful things back, and there's this. You ever been around a husband and wife when they start fighting? It's just like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to be here. I'm like. You know what I mean? I don't know if y'all have been around that. I've been in some places, and all of a sudden this couple starts like arguing, and then you're like, okay, it's just kind of playful, and then all of a sudden, no, they're mad, and you're thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here in that thing. And it's just. But then when you see this conflict, and somebody comes with a soft answer and soothes that thing, you think, man, that was masterful. That was wonderful. I think we're more impressed by somebody keeping themselves under control than we are with somebody that can really bag on somebody or dog them out or whatever you want to call it, whatever this word is we use today. I don't think that's as impressed with somebody that has control. How God gets the victory when His children can let Him be the one to defend. You see, I would rather have God defend me any day than for me to do my feeble attempt at it. I'd rather let God defend me and walk away and say, you know what, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to have to let my pride, my ugliness come out so that I can defend myself. I'm going to trust God. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay. God's going to take care of that thing. So 3, what will we be known for? What will you be known for? A, one that turns away wrath, or B, one that stirs up anger. When I say what will you be known for, maybe right now you say, what am I known for? If people said, you're one of those, if there was a survey went around to all the people that know you, and it was either he or she turns away wrath or stirs up anger, what would people say about you? You're like, no, why do we have to ask that question? Right? Why do we have to ask that question? Second thing is this. What will you be moving forward? Listen, God wants us to put out the flames. Put out the flames of wrath. Father, I pray that you'd help us tonight. Lord, help us with your word. Help us to be people that look like the Savior. Lord, help us to be kind of children of God that that end the anger, that end the frustration. Lord, help us not to be hurt people that hurt other people, and help us not to stir up strife and bitterness. But Lord, help us to be the ones with the soft answer that put an end to those things. And Lord, help us to resist, have control, resist the flesh and control our tongue, Lord. I will thank you for it, Lord, because we can't do it on our own. It's going to be your power and your presence in us. And Lord, we'll give you thanks for it now. In Jesus' name,